Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight's program is sponsored by Blackheart Guitars, and right now we have with us a Blackheart guitar artist. We have Christopher Nolan of Confessor. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks so much, Jeannie. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. Big fan of yours and the shows. There's some incredible talent on the show. I've been listening especially a lot lately, and yeah, it's really humbling experience.
Well, thanks for the support, and let's get right into our interview here. Chris, how old were you when you started playing guitar? And is guitar like the first instrument you ever played?
It actually is not. I started out, I had a short stint playing drums, basically just kind of taking some drum lessons through school. But then I was into guitar. I grew up in this little coal mining town in northeastern Pennsylvania. I had this instructor. He was an older guy, and I was around 11 years old, and honest to God, it was the worst experience I've ever had. He was, I think, on day 5 of quitting smoking, and looking back on it, I think he honestly had Tourette's syndrome. It seemed like every 5 minutes I was jumping out of my chair, just like afraid and scared of his loud yelling voice. I don't know. There was something up with this guy, but so needless to say, that lasted maybe 3 lessons, and then I picked it back up when I was around 15.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Chris, too, because I also took guitar lessons when I was a kid. I was experimenting with everything. My mom just wanted us to play something. Piano, no way. And we're like, we want to play guitar because we want to be rock stars, And we go in there and we're playing shit like Camp Town races and crap. And needless to say, after a week, and then he wanted me to cut my fingernails and stuff. I was 13. I was like, we don't want to do this anymore. So go ahead.
For a kid that's just wanting to get in there and learn how to play Gary Newman's Cars, right? That's really all I wanted to do. And here he's throwing a bunch of music theory at me and everything, and it was a big turnoff. But then I got the bug again about 5 years later. But the conditions have to be right?
So who were some of your musical influences, Chris?
Well, so I have to say, at the risk of sounding like I'm trying to achieve some self-fulfilling prophecy, Confessor actually is a big influence of mine. They have been for a really long time. They've really kind of molded my technique as a guitar player these days. I mean, when I sit down with my guitar, I'm pretty much going to be creating something that sounds a lot like Confessor. I just can't help it. It's kind of in the DNA. But I definitely have my favorites, like, for instance, Justin Broderick from Godflesh. Oh, man, love that guy. Any project he's working on, I'm really into. I like his style. He's got this abrasiveness in his technique. He creates these cluster tones, and it's just straight up noise that seems to always fit. I just love that. But I also love Radiohead. Radiohead's a big favorite of mine. Love the textures and the depths of those songs, And of course, Rush was a huge influence. Alex Lifeson, love that guy. And then the big 3, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. So, those are some of the influences there.
And what was the first band you were in, Chris?
Oh gosh, it was this band. Let's see, back in I want to say 1989. A band called Inner Sanctum. We had this kind of neoclassical type sound going on, and it honestly, I was really kind of green as far as guitar playing goes, but I was playing with this prodigy, this phenomenal guitar player named Jim Forbis, and he just taught me a lot. We were playing covers from Fate's Warning, King Diamond, Cacophony, Jason Becker, Marty Friedman. I mean, just these phenomenal players. And we wrote a lot of our own stuff as well. But it kind of started off as a neoclassical type sound, and then morphed into something a little heavier. It was, about a 3-year long deal. was a great learning experience. I gained a lot of appreciation for different types of exotic modes and scales and things like that. Unlike a lot of guitar players, I didn't really start off learning pentatonic scales and blues, things like that. I definitely gained an appreciation for that later in life. But yeah, it was an interesting ride back then. But that was the first band I played in.
And how did you go about getting the gig with Confessor then? A band that you were like your influence?
Yeah, so they were my favorite band. I mean, when I was part of the Greensboro music scene back in the day, it was really prominent, a really vibrant scene. Everybody knew of Confessor. We all really kind of wanted to share a little bit of what they had going on. You know, we all were really trying to mimic this. Everyone knew they had something different, and we all wanted a part of it. So anyway, I heard that they were going to be looking for a guitar player because I heard their guitar player at the time, Ivan Colin, heard he was going back to college. So I basically just set up my jam box in front of my amplifier. I had learned a couple of Confessor parts, started playing those and just a little bit of lead work, and basically made a tape and sent it to our singer. I don't know how, come to think of it, I really have no idea how I got his home address. Maybe just kind of utilizing some of my my fanboy stalking skills, I guess. but yeah, so I got a call from them about a month later and tried out, and the rest is history. That was back in right around 93, 94.
And so what were some of like the first shows you did with Confessor?
Well, let's see. The way it panned out, we did a show in 96, I'm pretty sure, 96, and it was a show for Ivan leaving. It was his last show. So Ivan played, and then I played a couple songs up there. That was my first experience playing. It was at a bar called Snooker's here in Raleigh, North Carolina. That was my first show with them. But then the way things went after that, it was a little chaotic. The singer actually wanted to pursue school, so he went to school. So we got a different singer, which of course changed everything. We changed our name to Fly Machine. And we were Fly Machine for years after that, like seven years. So it was, and we played a lot of shows. Fly Machine did. We weren't Confessor. We had the innards or the heart of Confessor. But yeah, without Scott there, it just, of course, it wasn't Confessor without Scott. So, but since then we've played some festivals. We played. Let's see. We played Barcelona, the Barcelona, Spain, about 4 years ago, the Day of Doom festival. Oh my God, that was so much fun. We met some incredibly nice people, saw some mind-boggling structures, such a rich city, and that was a lot of fun. We did that, and then let's see, back in 2012, we played in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Maryland Death Fest. That was amazing as well. And between those two shows, we've had a handful of local shows that we've played. But we are a band that just doesn't play out that often. And the reason why right now is just because we are so focused on getting this new material out to everybody.
And, just to back up a little bit, when did you go back to the Confessor name?
Oh, so here's what happened. Okay, so first of all, I took a little bit of a hiatus with Fly Machine. All right, so I quit Fly Machine, and I had to basically get a career going, something, because things just weren't really panning out. And during that time, Ivan Colin, one of the original guitar players, he actually passed away from a heart condition. So there's a benefit show, a Confessor benefit show to raise money for expenses, for his wife. And after that show, Confessor actually did get back together, but I was still right in the middle of my career, my other life, my work life. So I was starting a family and working, and Confessor actually did get back together, and that's when Unraveled was created. Their guitar player was Sean McCoy, good friend of the band's. And so then I wound up coming back about a couple years after that, and that was back in around 2007. So from 2007 till now, we've been at it, working on new material and just writing.
So what is the lineup of Confessor now?
Right now, it's, of course, Steve Shelton and Carrie Rouse. Steve's drum player, Carrie's the bass player, Scott Jeffries, the singer. We've got Marcus Williams and myself.
And you had mentioned that you're working on some new material, so tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the new Confessor album, I'm thinking it's going to be just loved by all. Let's hope. It's definitely a harden back to Confessor's first major release, Condemned. All right, we're going old school here. We want to kind of get back to the roots, and we've got a lot of similarities on this new music. A lot of similar harmonies, intervals, a lot of the song structures the same, with a few more layers. However, there's more texture in some of the new songs. So we think it's something that will be, just as appealing to the old school fans as the new folks. Presuming there will be plenty of new folks that like it. There's going to be a little bit on there for everyone. Some songs are more of a technical doom flavor, and then we've got some slower songs, the heavy, sludgy, syrupy Confessor sound. That's definitely going to be there.
And now, is this going to be a full length or an EP? What are you guys plan on doing with all these songs?
We actually were talking about this a little bit last night at practice. We were thinking of releasing maybe kind of a 3-song, something with 3 songs, maybe 2 songs, just to kind of shop around a little bit. Mm-hmm. We've done that in the past. We've had some really good luck with that. But then, the plan is a full-length album.
So how do you go about writing guitar parts for an album?
Well, it's a process. It can be kind of a long process, actually. It's really fun. It's really satisfying once the final product is alive and kicking, but bringing it to life can sometimes be a bit arduous. It's something that we all take very, very seriously. We have so many parts that are in the pile, so to speak, just parts that have been written over the years, some older, some new parts. We do a lot of on-the-fly recording, just to avoid having to remember all of this stuff. And our drummer is just wildly talented at taking a part or a riff that was written a few years ago and twisting it around, turning it inside and out, and then, then matching it up with something that's maybe written yesterday. So it's definitely, it winds up being an organic experience. I mean, it really does wind up sounding organic because what happens usually is Marcus and Steve, this is how it's been as of late, Marcus and Steve will go out there with their noses to the grindstone, creating parts and just creating music. And then Carrie and I will come in and add some texture and make some recommendations on just making it sound even cooler. So yeah, all in all, it's what we have is this organic piece because all of us put our input into it. All of us put our opinion in there. We basically take the part, kind of throw it out in the middle of the practice room, let it flop around a little bit, and make it our own.
And so, what is the band currently up to besides working on the album?
Yeah, well, right now, honestly, we are just so dead set on finishing this. Mm-hmm. We really want to have a finished product soon. We so appreciate everyone's patience. God knows people have been waiting for a while for something new from us. We've turned down several shows because, mainly we just are really working on this new material. Our singer currently lives in China. He's got a beautiful family in China. He eventually, all of them, will wind up moving back here. But until then, our plan is to just keep writing and sending him the music. That's really what we've been doing.
Now, are you involved in any other bands or projects besides Confessor?
Yeah, I am actually. The bass player for Confessor Carey and I play in another band with the former guitar player. His name's Brian Schoaf, the former Confessor guitar player. It's just one big happy family here in Raleigh. We all kind of stick together. But yeah, the name of that band is called Slow End, and it's not as heavy as Confessor. It's a little more melodic. A little more of a straight up rock vibe, maybe a cross between like Tool, Quicksand, Black Sabbath, maybe throw some Black Crowes in there also. We have a lot of fun with that. We do that whenever we can. And that band actually can churn out some songs a little quicker than Confessor can. So we'll play some shows here and there. We have a good time in that band.
So we're going to talk a little bit about gear and stuff. So tell everybody, what kind of gear you use. And, recently you also became a Blackheart guitar artist. So also tell us about your guitar and why you like it.
Yeah, so, I've been, for I guess about 10 years now, I've been playing this Bogner Uberschall head with a Bogner 412 cabinet. I've got some minimal effects going on, some chorus, maybe some delay for solos and stuff. But so let me tell you, I've got several guitars, but my new favorite is this Blackheart Hex VC. I've been talking to Zeus from Blackheart Guitars, fantastic guy. I actually got an endorsement by them, which is a huge deal to me. Very honored to have that. They really know what they're doing. Zeus and I text each other often. He's a really good guy. And this guitar just plays great. It's thick, it's heavy, ballsy, it's perfectly intonated. It just seems to fit perfect with what Confessor does. He and I have actually been talking about possibly collaborating on a signature series guitar.
Oh, nice.
Maybe some kind of a Confessor type guitar,
Awesome. And as you can hear in the background, Heavy Metal Rooster has made an appearance in your interview.
Oh, yes. See, that's a good sign. That means things are going to go well.
So, Chris, what kind of advice do you have for people getting into guitar and bands?
Oh gosh, it's really kind of difficult to be 100% original this day and age, 2018. I mean, it's been done. A lot of things have been done, but don't be afraid to really try to think outside of the box. It's, like I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world to pull off, but you have to just try doing something different, and of course something that you're passionate about. Just get out there and do it.
And Chris, before we go, what websites can people go to learn more about the band and what's going on?
Oh, sure. So as of about a year ago, we got a new website up and running. A good friend of the band's is a guy named Chris Handy with Left Handy Designs. He designs great websites. The website is called ConfessorOfficial.com. No space, just Confessor Official. So we've got that, and we also have a couple of Facebook pages. One of them is more of a fan-based Facebook, but the other one, the guys and I kind of administrate. It's confessor.doom, I think. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's on Facebook. And I'd also like to just say real quick that Blackheart does have a guitar expo, the East Coast Guitar Expo coming up. And Marcus and I are going to be in the booth jamming out. So I'd love to meet anyone who happens to be in the area. Come on by. We could talk shop, talk about Blackheart guitars, and talk Confessor.
Awesome. So there you guys have it. Chris Nolan, Blackheart guitar artist. And like he said, you could go visit him at the East Coast Guitar Expo. I think it's in Virginia. They're going to be there with their Blackheart guitars. You can learn more about them. And now you could also learn more about Confessor at their website and their Facebook page. And the same thing goes with Blackheart guitars. You can learn more about the guitars and their artists over at their website and their Facebook page. And Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show tonight, telling us about your guitars and your gear and Confessor, and all the best to you in the band.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeannie. I hope to meet you someday, and I look forward to listening to you in the future. Thanks.